Introduction to making plots in Excel. We've started with some data. We have x, an array of x here. It varies from 0 to 1 with a spacing of 0.04. Y is just a parabola on the x data, and then we've added some noise to it where we just take y and add some random noise that varies between 0 and 1. We have several columns of noise. The mean is just the sum of the average of all the noise fields at each x location. If we had enough columns of noise and we averaged them, then the mean should recover the y-axis. So let's go ahead and plot some of this data. We'll do that by first selecting a subset of the data. So we can select that here, maybe 2 of the noise fields. Now let's grab 3 of the noise fields and the mean. So if I hit Control and then select the mean, I can grab those columns. Then I hit Control C to copy it. I can make a new sheet, Control V to paste it in. Now we just got those columns that we want. Now to make a plot, 99% of the plots that I use are going to be scatter plots. That'll be done for with the Insert tab over here with Charts, and this scatter plot is the one we'll use for almost everything. Column charts we sometimes use as well, and most of the formatting that we'll use here will carry over. So if we highlight the X and Y data, you can include the titles in these if you want, or leave them out of the selection. You can click on the data, scatter, and it just gives us a basic scatter plot. If we want more than one plot on the same curve, then we can do that in a couple of ways. One way is to highlight X and pick another data field, maybe the mean with Control Select, and go up and insert another chart. Another scatter chart, and then we can copy this chart and paste it on top of the other chart, just like so, which is pretty convenient. If you want to delete a data series, click on the data series, hit delete, that'll remove it. You can undo it with Control Z. The other way you can add more charts is just highlight more of the data. So we can pick, say, these columns, Control means. These will plot all of the y plus noise, and means versus the x-axis. So we go to Insert, Scatter Chart, we put them all in there. Everything we want to control about the chart will be done by either double-clicking on an element of the chart, like the axis, or a data series, or the grid lines, or the chart area, or the whole plot, or the title, and then we can format different aspects of the plot. Almost always get rid of the title, don't care about that. If we come over here to this quick layout, we can add things like legends to the plot. So you can see various ways that we can add different basic setups here. This one's pretty common. Get rid of the chart title again. Get rid of the grid lines. Let's add a box around the plot. Oops. If we add a box around the plot, we can put a line back in there, automatic, solid line, there we go. But let's get rid of the box around the whole chart, no line. Okay, put the legend inside so we can maximize it. Oops, highlight the whole legend, there we go. Click the chart area, we can make it a little bigger. The fonts are small, whatever you think is good for fonts, just make them bigger. They always look okay on the screen, and then when you print it out, it's too small. So if we click the whole chart, we can raise all the fonts at once. And now it's overlapping a little bit, so we can highlight the chart, move it in so that it's out of the way. Our axis is a little bit messed up. We'd like to change the bounds on the axis, so we double-click the axis. And so again, an exercise, and if you want to change something, double-click it or right-click it. In this case, let's change the maximum to go to 1 instead of 0.5. And it's looking a little bit better here. Okay. Now, it's important for pretty much all plots, you want them to be general so that they can be plotted in black and white, and so that they don't rely on people that may be colorblind. So the easy way to do that is to change It's okay to do color. I usually will include color, but I don't want it to be dependent on the color. So if I click a data series here, you can go up to the paint can. First of all, we don't like any shadows. If Excel ever gives you shadow, click on no shadow. Get rid of those shadows. They're not good for scientific plots. We can go over to this paint can here, and we can add a line to it. If we want a line through the data, that can sometimes visually connect the points. For scattered data, like measured data, it's common to leave off the line, but maybe we'll keep the line for the parabola, since it's, in theory, that holds everywhere. So we could add in a line for the parabola, and maybe we'll turn the markers off. So if we come over to marker, we can go marker options none, so we don't have any markers for the line. Then for our noise field here, where's our noise? Click on the noise. You can tell it's the noise because it'll highlight the noise column when you select the data. And for that one, maybe we'll want to change the symbol for the marker. Marker options, type, built-in, type. We can change it to have a different shape, so triangle for instance. And you can change the size of the markers. Marker. We can change the marker options, change the size, make them bigger or smaller if we want, change the color. The markers have lots of options. You can change outlines on them. You can make them filled or not filled as you go through, and just play with these different options here. For the mean data, let's see, you'll notice that, oh no, that's not true, that's okay. For the mean data, maybe we want to connect that with a line. So we can come over line, maybe we'll keep the points, but we'll add in a solid line. And so that's one way to do that. You can also change the style of the line. So the line can be, when we look at the type, we can make it a dashed line, for instance. Now it's connected by symbols and dashed line. And that'll make it easier to visually tell what's the difference between the different data sets. It's a little awkward having some of the data go 0 on our axis, not go there. So we can select an axis, we can plot it on a log scale. We do that commonly. It'll complain if you have negative values in the data, because the negative values don't plot on the log scale. You can change the order of these things. You can see where the you can change where the axis crosses. So right now it's automatic, but we can have it cross at -1, for instance, and now our, oops, move that out of the way. Now it crosses at -1, so that the whole plot is on the top and on the left and on the bottom, like we might expect. Let's see, suppose we wanted to add a data series to this plot. If we right click on the plot, we can go select data, and we can see these different data ranges. You can add data to the plot, and here there's a series name. We can name it something, new data, and then we can select the data values for X. This little button here that looks like the sheet, select the Y data values. These are some other noise fields, for instance. And hit OK, and then it puts it in there. And we're good. And then we can change, maybe we want symbols for those. So no line, marker, give me a marker in there, automatic, now built in, and we'll make it an X value. Okay. Oh, it looks like we just changed the one symbol. We need to do the whole thing. So we come in here and go marker. We want marker options, built in, make the X. And we don't want a line. There, much better. Yellow is not going to be the best option. So maybe we want to change the color. Marker, color, make it a nice dark color like black. There we go. It shows up much better. One thing that's useful in copying data, I copied this data over directly. You'll notice that this data will change sometimes if I, for instance, decide to drag the data over, it'll recalculate the sheet. And you'll notice the whole worksheet changes because that random function reevaluates itself. Suppose I wanted to keep all that data as it is. Instead of having the formula there, I just want to keep the data. If I highlight some of the data, Control-C to copy it, and then if I right-click the data, I can paste special values. We can also reverse the data. So if I take all my data, copy it, give myself a new sheet, we can right-click, paste special, and there's other paste options, and you can see what different kinds of things that you can do. Transpose the data. Let's see if my computer will let me. And it doesn't seem to let me do it, but anyway, if you click the transpose, then it will flip the axes, turning rows into columns and columns into rows. So that's a quick introduction to some plotting functions in Excel.